Guys, don't buy cheap costumes from AliExpress. I'm supposed to be Sia? New hunters and survivors are coming out left, right and center, and Cipher Rush still hasn't been addressed, and it's quite possible that it won't be addressed anytime soon. As a hunter, you're probably feeling quite overwhelmed right now. It's very difficult to win, and it's even a struggle to be able to get a tie. This is due to Cipher machines popping before you even have the chance to react to them. Let's discuss what you need to do to win more often as a hunter. The beginning of the match is key. What happens here can affect the trajectory of the whole match. But we can't all get a terror shock in the first 30 seconds of the match now, can we? So what you need to learn is which survivors you should prioritize on. A lot of higher tier hunters will try and find the strongest decoder in the match, and they'll ignore all the other survivors in the match just because it wastes their time if they follow them, because decoders are decoding so quickly in the background. But you can also chase the survivor that is the first one that you find, as long as that survivor isn't a strong kiter overall, and also as long as they're not in a strong kiting area. If they are in a strong kiting area, then it's best that you avoid chasing that survivor, because they'll just waste your time, you'll get them down, and by then you've already lost the match. If the first survivor you find is a decent kiter, but they're in a really strong kiting area, then it's better that you move on and find a different target that is technically weaker. Continuing that thought, it's very important to know when to give up on a chase and to change target. A lot of hunters get tunnel vision and they really want to get that one person that they've been chasing the whole match down just because they feel like they need to prove to themselves or prove to that player that they're a good hunter. But that shouldn't have happened in the first place. If you're chasing a survivor and they kite you for more than 40 seconds and you're quite sure that you're not going to be able to knock them down anytime soon, then it's probably a really good idea for you to change target and move on to somebody else. To do this, you might want to go and find a wiggling Cipher machine. And if possible, head towards a Cipher machine that's wiggling, that's in an area that hasn't got lots of good kiting areas. This will make up for lost time, as you'll be able to quickly eliminate the survivor in that area and, catch up with the rest of the survivors and their decoding. The 40 seconds that I gave was just a rule of thumb. You need to know exactly when you are ready and prepared to move on to a different target. It can depend on the survivor that you're chasing and the character that you're playing, along with your playstyle. So what you need to do is you need to develop a feeling as to when you should probably move on to a different target. How do you find that other target, you're asking? Well, that's an easy answer. Good hunters will be paying attention to where Cipher machines are wiggling at all points of the match. They'll be doing this whilst chasing survivors. The best way to make sure that you're paying attention to where wiggling Cipher machines are, you can use your downtime to look around for wiggling ciphers. By this, I mean when you're breaking a pallet, for example, when you are vaulting a window, picking up a survivor, putting them on a chair. All of these things are animations that you cannot cancel, so you might as well have a look around to see which Cipher machines are wiggling. You can also do this if you're chasing a survivor that's at a long distance from you, since you're not doing much else but just walking in a straight line. With this information, you are technically at an advantage because you can tell and you can predict which direction a rescue is coming from. Also, if you want to teleport to a survivor and take them by surprise, you know exactly where to teleport to, and you know more or less, and you can predict which direction survivors will go in after they've finished one of their ciphers. Knocking down a survivor can also be quite a pain because sometimes it's very difficult to catch up to them. And there is no surefire way or tip that I can give you to guarantee that you'll be able to knock them down every single time. But what I often see with less confident hunters is that they have a very linear way of chasing. They don't really change it up midway, and they don't change their strategies when they're chasing someone. Some hunters, for example, will always swing at pallets because they're too scared to get pallet stunned. Other hunters will also walk through pallets and then get pallet stunned every single time. To improve your chances at getting survivors quickly in the early game and also in the rest of the match, you need to make sure that you vary your playstyle. By this, I mean you need to change and adapt and make sure that you're unpredictable. Sometimes you need to walk through pallets, other times you need to swing at pallets before they do it. Sometimes you need to go around the pallets. By doing this, the survivors can never know which way or what you're going to do next, so they just need to guess, and usually this means they're going to make a mistake. This also means that you need to adapt to their playstyle. For example, if they always throw down pallets, then you need to also adjust to that and swing earlier than you probably usually would, just to make sure that you hit them on the drop of the pallet. If they never throw down pallets, then you just need to walk through the pallet, because in most cases they're not going to throw it down. That means that you can get an easy hit. You don't always need to be scared of pallets. But once again, you need to be unpredictable as much as they're probably going to need to be unpredictable as well. Let's say you get a survivor chaired. Now you have three options, as I've talked about in previous videos in the past. One of the options you have is to camp the chair. The second option you have is to camp at a distance, and the last one you can do is you can go and harass a different Cipher machine or go and chase another target. The second one is the strongest option, at least in my opinion. We can call it distance camping. And here is a strategy that most hunters will use to be able to improve their chances at getting the rescuer down before they even get to the chair itself. What you want to do is you want to step 12 meters away from the chair with the survivor on it. Why do you want to do this? Because if you are near the chair, then the survivors all around the map can see your exact location because they can see you in a red outline. By stepping 12 meters away from the chair, your red outline disappears. Now the survivors don't know where you are. This can be really effective when trying to stop a rescuer because they need to now try and guess where you're going. Maybe decoding survivors can also be in a bit of a panic because they don't know if you're coming towards them, if you're camping, or if you're actually not camping. A good way of telling if you're 12 meters away is by using the trait Wither. The trait Wither is a trait that will help you if you hit a survivor, they'll get less speed boost after you hit them. But it also only activates after those 12 meters. If the rescuer somehow does make it to the chair without getting hit, then you need to know exactly what you need to do. If a rescuer comes towards the chair early, then the best thing you can do is hit them. This is due to the fact that they're probably going to hang around near the chair and waste your time. The more time that they waste, the more time survivors have to decode and the less time you have to win the match. So make sure you hit them early so that they will instantly quickly rescue and then you can get on with the rest of the match. If the rescuing survivor comes in closer to half, then you should probably threaten them with the terror shock. By this I mean wait and kind of bait them into maybe getting on trying to rescue. This will delay them and possibly mean that they rescue after the half because they're too scared to get terror shocked on that rescue. By them rescuing after half, it's going to be much easier and you'll lose much less time when you're trying to eliminate the survivor because they'll only be one chair away. If the hunter that you're playing has a secondary ability that does damage, or you have the chance to be able to do a full hit, then you should definitely try and use these abilities over your main attack when they're coming in for the rescue. This means that you might be able to double hit them before they get to the chair, because you have no attack recovery. By hitting them once with this ability and then hitting them again with your main hit, this means that you can hit them and eliminate them very quickly, the same way that you should hit the subscribe button. If you have the option after someone has been rescued from a chair to be able to harass or hit the survivor who's just been rescued and also the person who just rescued, then you should definitely try and focus on getting the double down. What do I mean by double down? I mean that you get 2 survivors down in quick succession. There will only technically be 2 survivors decoding, one of which needs to come and rescue. So what you really should do is you should go out of your way to be able to get that person down so that 2 survivors are knocked down, not just 1. For this, you do need to learn how long it takes for a survivor to stand up again after they've been knocked down. Some survivors have a longer time, some survivors have a faster time that it takes to get back up again, but you'll learn it over time. If you get double down, this can create a butterfly effect for the rest of the match because now the survivors will probably lose the match because they can't rescue and they also can't really decode because there are only 2 of them. If you're deciding which hunter to pick but you don't know which hunters are competitive or not, then you should check out this video here.